Have you ever gone through something so powerful, so unforgettable, maybe shook your world in a bad way that you decided nobody needs to know? And perhaps some of those reasons might be attached to your credibility, your reputation, your job, your status. And I get it. When something threatens our stability, we question whether or not we should share it with anybody. And maybe it was just more of a case that if I say it out loud, it's real. And if I keep it to myself, it's not. But I want to ask you a different question. What if the very thing you're hiding is the one thing that would allow people to trust you more? Welcome to the Brave Rebellion, where we break down what courageous conversations look like and how they can help you transform your life, your relationships, and your career. My name is Tammy Dunnett, leadership and communication skills trainer, and I got myself a story around this as well. We're going to share that today. In episode 4, I shared an experience with a professional around bullying, not workplace bullying. We did not work in the same place, but it was bullying nonetheless. Today, we're going to go deeper into that, and I'm going to share a little bit about the impact and leave you with a question that you can use to help reflect in your own life. I'm a big reflector, and it's from reflecting that I can share this episode today. You see, the impact of that last experience had me questioning everything. I questioned my judgment. I questioned my strategies, my process, my brave framework. I questioned my confidence and self-worth. And I got to the point where I was unfairly judging myself from an unfair standard that I would not put on anybody else. But because this is my area of specialty, workplace bullying, communication skills, conflict, repairing at-risk relationships, because this is where I stand and I work and I breathe and I want to add value to people's lives, I was my own worst critic and I was harsh on myself, to the point that I thought about abandoning this entire profession and to just go be a Walmart greeter or to teach pickleball, something that sounded lighthearted. I have since come to learn that it doesn't always mean that those jobs are lighthearted. There is bullying and conflict and tension in all of those places, and you cannot outrun it. And so what I found is over time, this is the space where my passion exists, and I cannot outrun that desire, nor can I keep silent. I don't want to question whether or not I should be teaching communication skills anymore because I am damn good at it. I have spent years helping people navigate the most challenging moments of their lives successfully. I have changed relationships. I have turned people's perspectives around on their coworkers. It is incredible what I have got to be, where I have got to be with people in their journey. And yet somehow I found myself wondering if I was capable, if I was worthy, who would listen to me. So I actually kept things secret for a long time, longer than I would normally have. And as I processed my experience with this individual, I wanted to find ways to share it in educational ways. And what I found is that it wasn't actually the experience that was keeping me silent. It was the judgment, it was the shame, it was the secret. I felt I could not talk about it. And that made me feel like I had no voice. I had no space, no place, no momentum. And I ended up living small. I shrunk myself. I isolated. I withdrew. I stopped creating content. I stopped emailing my audience. I stopped everything. And the more I walked through the journey of healing and understanding and reflecting, the more I realized something. And it's not a truth I didn't know. It's something I had always known, but I had become disconnected from through the journey. People don't expect perfection. I was judging myself from a place of If I teach this, I should know. And if you are one of my clients and you just heard me say that line, you probably are already saying, Tammy, the fallacy of should, it's a place that doesn't exist. It's not a reality. When you say, this should have happened, I spend a lot of effort and energy on what should, and I'm in this fantasy world, doesn't exist. So if you're one of my clients and you picked up on that, kudos to you. Send me a note. Let me know you caught that. There was this belief around that if I shared it, if I exposed it, I would lose credibility. And I know that's not true. Maybe for some of you it will, but for the majority of you, I know it's not true. Because what was happening as a result is I wasn't showing up fully. I wasn't speaking as boldly. I still second guessed myself. I trusted myself less. And that was not how I wanted to live. And so I decided to share my story, my experiences from my perspective, knowing that there was another truth out there that exists. The moment I started to share was the moment I felt like I was stepping back into my power, like I was stepping back into my voice. And the irony in all of that is people don't lose confidence in you when you falter, you fall down, you fail. They actually trust you more. And I know that. I don't know why I struggled so long with sharing this. I felt like a failure, to be honest. I failed myself. I had some pretty harsh content that I would tell myself. Who am I to tell people how to deal with this when I can't even navigate this? And I have all this knowledge and experience, and I still can't make an impact when it comes to a true bully. When you attempt to do everything you can to build connection, to get clarity, to understand, to gain some sort of collaboration, you've done what you know how to do. You have invited people to the table and they refuse to come. You need to self-soothe. You cannot change that individual if they are a true bully. You see, sometimes the story we're most afraid to tell is actually the story that needs to be told. It's what builds your credibility, builds your reputation, deepens the trust, and it gives somebody else permission to say, me too. There have been many people who have written me and shared their Me Too story, which is great for validating my experience and tragic in that it still continues. In our next episode, we are going to talk with Dr. Christy Taylor, and she's going to share about her massive moment that shook her confidence and had her asking the very same question. Do I share this or do I keep it a secret? And what would be the impact of that? Now, before we get to the next episode, here's a question you can ponder between now and then. What part of your story are you still hiding because you think it makes you look less capable, less credible, or less worthy? And then ask yourself an even more important question. Has keeping the story quiet actually protected you, or has it quietly been costing you your voice? It's the question that Dr. Christy Taylor struggled with too. Until then, stay in the brave, stay in the conversation. This is Tammy, your host of The Brave Rebellion.